Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our macOS development with AppKit tutorial series. And in this particular tutorial we are going to be talking about the responder chain. Now this is going to be a little bit more of a talking head video than actually coding something, because the responder chain can be demonstrated. There are many other videos on YouTube that do demonstrate exactly how it works, but for the most part, it's kind of a this is just going to be a talking head video where I explain how it exactly works and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, what is the responder chain? Well, the responder chain is a concept in Cocoa, as well as Cocoa Touch. So this is fundamental to both macOS and iOS development. Not so much SwiftUI. SwiftUI handles a lot of that stuff behind the scenes, and you can't manipulate it on your own. But that's besides the point. So in AppKit, in Cocoa, the responder chain is pretty much a chain of objects and view controllers and windows and window controllers and stuff like that in your view hierarchy that can handle events such as mouse clicks, typing text into a text field, clicking buttons, all that kind of stuff. All kinds of events take place in the responder chain. Now, it starts with a view or view controller that sends some kind of action, whether it be a button click, a mouse wheel, scroll action, a mouse click, something like that, and then if that view or view controller can't handle that event, it bubbles up to the next view or view controller, window controller in the hierarchy and asks it if it can handle the event. If it can't, it goes to the next thing. And then if that can't do it, it goes to the next thing, and so on and so on and so on, until it eventually reaches the NS application. And if the NS application can't do it, then it goes up to the application delegate. And if the app delegate can't do it, then the event just goes unhandled. You can customize, what views participate, what views and view controllers participate in the responder chain. That is, in fact, possible. Now, a lot of the time you're not going to do that, but just know that it is possible. Okay? Now, we've been using the responder chain since the beginning of the series. Prime examples being button clicks and typing into a text field. If you recall, when we create our NS buttons, we specify a target and an action. Well, that target specifies what object should handle that event, that button click. If we set it to, for example, self, we're saying, hey, this view controller needs to handle this event. If we set target to nil, then we're opting into the responder chain, saying, okay, start with this view and see if this view, this NS button, can handle the event. If the button itself can't handle it, then bubble it up to the view controller. If the view controller can't handle it, move to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until it bubbles all the way up to the top. Okay, so same thing goes for text fields, right? If you have a text field and you type into that text field, that is considered a key press event, the value changing, all that stuff. That if the target is nil, like it is by default, then it participates in the responder chain. Well, that NS text field handles the action itself, so it ends there. But if it doesn't, then it'll bubble up to the view controller, and so on and so forth. Now, let's talk about the concept of first responder. Well, the first responder is the view that will first attempt to handle an event. So, for example, when you're typing in a text field and you see that like blue focus ring around the text field, that not only indicates that the text field is focused, but internally that tells Coco that the text field is the first responder and to send any actions done there first. And you can resign that first responder by calling the resign first responder method on the text field. And that will tell the text field, hey, you are no longer the first responder, and the text field will no longer be focused and accept events. We do similar stuff in UIKit, so this stuff does transfer over. The objects are just named differently. Now, when we think of views and view controllers participating in the responder chain, how does it do it? Because maybe there are things that don't respond to the responder chain. And that's true. There are some that don't. There are some things that don't respond to it. And in order to be part of the responder chain, these objects must inherit from NS responder. If you don't inherit from NS responder, you don't participate in the responder chain. All right. So now that we kind of understand what the responder chain is, there are a few other things that I want to bring to your attention that do work with the responder chain that you'll be using quite often and that we will cover in later videos in the series, just to kind of give you a taste of where we're headed from here. So from here, one of the prominent things that we're going to use the responder chain for are keyboard shortcuts and menu items in the menu bar. So in the menu bar, those aren't associated with a particular window or view controller. They are associated, with the application itself. So if we want to have an action in some kind of view controller for a keyboard shortcut or the action of a menu item in the menu bar, we have to use the responder chain in order to utilize that. Right. So those are just two prominent examples of the responder chain in Coco. There are many, many more examples, but those are the prominent ones. Right. Let's see. All right. So with that being said, that pretty much does it for this video on the responder chain. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.